How's it going, everyone? The Packers have made their first round pick, and it was kind of anticlimactic, especially with how it started to build up, especially with all the defensive players not getting picked for the first 15 picks, which was insane. And it looked like the draft was really falling to us. And as it got closer to the 21st overall pick, 22nd overall pick, you started seeing Cooper DeJean falling. It's like, could he actually fall to us? Would we actually pull the trigger, go for him? Kool-Aid McKinstry was there, Nate Wiggins, and then of course, the Lions did trade ahead and get a cornerback that we probably would have went after as well. But the Packers pretty much held to their 25th overall pick and picked offensive tackle in Jordan Morgan. And yeah, it's not the flashiest pick, but offensive line was a pretty big need for us, especially with the departure of David Bakhtiari and John Runyon Jr. And also you have Josh Nyman leaving. It kind of left some need amongst that offensive lineman. So they went with their guy in Jordan Morgan. And Jordan Morgan pretty much fits that prototypical offensive lineman that the Packers like to go for. So he has a high RAS score of a 9.24 and comes in at 6'5", 311 pounds. Not an extremely big offensive lineman, but the Packers typically don't go for that big 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" behemoth offensive lineman that we've seen in this year's draft. He typically don't go for them in the first few rounds, so he fits the prototypical build for them. And he had a 40-yard dash of 5.04, so very, very athletic. That's what they like in their offensive linemen. They tend to gear towards athletic offensive linemen instead of those big dudes with huge wingspan. So this is a pretty on-par pick for the Packers when they're looking for their offensive linemen. Now, a little bit of Jordan Morgan in his college time. He spent 5 years at Arizona, and it probably would have been 4 years. But unfortunately, in that 2022 season in November, he tore his ACL in his left knee and pretty much put him out for the rest of the season and the off season. So he did not declare for the draft. Ended up coming back for his 5th year at Arizona and came back strong. So in his 2022 season, which probably would have been his last one, he had an 83.1 offensive grade, a 78.6 run block grade, and an 82 pass blocking grade, and only allowed 1 sack and 17 total pressure. So pretty good standing for him in what potentially would have been his final year if he didn't tear his knee. But came back for a 5th year and pretty much just resumed like he was one of the top offensive linemen. So he had an 83.5 offensive grade coming back from that knee injury, a 77 run block grade, and an 87.3 pass blocking grade, and only allowed 2 sacks and 14 total pressures. So that's pretty outstanding, especially coming back from that knee injury. And the Gutekunst did like what he saw on tape, especially coming back from that knee injury and keeping that athleticism in him. And now with the draft pick of Morgan coming to the Packers, the question now becomes, where does he play? In college, he played left tackle strictly, but a lot of people believe he has a lot of versatility, including the Packers and Gutekunst. Gutekunst even stated that he believes he could play 4 of the 5 offensive lineman spot, being both of the tackle positions and both of the guard positions. So with Rasheed Walker at left and him looking like he could be our left tackle of the future, that depends now. Do we kick him in over at right guard because that is a position of need with John Runyon leaving? Or do we kind of mess around a little bit more and then move him to right tackle so there's not too much because he has that athleticism on the outside to play right tackle and then Zach Tom go to right guard? Or do we get even fancier to where maybe Jordan Morgan will play left tackle, Rasheed Walker kick to the right tackle, and Zach Tom go to right guard? There is a lot of potential with this pick. So once again, adding to that typical Packers pick that we like to go for, we like versatility amongst that offensive lineman so players can kind of shift and move. Do we really want to move Zach Tom from the right tackle position, especially since he played so well? It's hard to say yes, considering how well he played there, and it's kind of like, don't fix it if it's not broken, but Packers do like their versatility and like moving pieces amongst that offensive lineman. So training camp is going to be interesting. We're going to see where Jordan Morgan could eventually play at what tackle or guard position, and if he earns a spot to start on that offensive lineman at the beginning of training camp, because he'll have a very good opportunity to start day one for the Packers. And to add of why this is also another smart move for the Packers is they're securing and protecting Jordan Love. You have to protect your quarterback in this league. I wonder if Gutekunst has slightly in the back of his head when he saw Aaron Rodgers go down with the Jets in only his third or fourth snap, because the Jets didn't take priority of protecting their nice new shiny quarterback over there, and he was injured. You got to protect your quarterback. So this is a great pick in that sense of continuing to protect Jordan Love for now and into the future, because you have to protect your quarterback. But at the end of the day, day two for the Packers is shaping up to be pretty strong on the defensive side still, because even though we would decide to go offensive tackle, there was another run on offensive tackles right after us. So there's still a lot of good first round defensive prospects to where maybe we could see Gutekunst trade up like we did in 2022 for Christian Watson. We have a lot of picks to where we could still move around, and maybe the Packers are going to try to pull the trigger real quick to not lose a guy. So day two is looking strong for the Packers despite going offensive tackle, which was a big need for us in day one. The Packers will be heading into day two with 4 picks available to them, picking at 41st overall, 58th overall, and then in round 3, 88th overall, and 91st overall. So a lot of good picks in still the top 100, and a lot of wiggle room if they decide to, depend on how the draft board goes, to move up or down. But how do you guys feel about this pick with Jordan Morgan, especially with so many defensive prospects available over there in the first round? If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, go Pack Go.